Okay, good evening everybody, and welcome to another Less Music, More Music live stream. We're down at the Soundhouse this week, back to our spiritual home, and this week I'd like to say Hola y benvindo. Silvia de Sousa.
Thank you.
Did that work?
Yes.
What did that-
Bem-vinda.
Oh, sorry.
But it was close enough.
I feel very humble in your presence because I can just about do 2 languages, one of which clearly isn't Portuguese. But you do 4, don't you?
Well, more or less. Of course, Portuguese and English. I'm fluent. Then Spanish. I've got a good level of Spanish because again, it's quite similar to Portuguese. And then French, well...
Oh, I thought you did a bit of the Sprechen Sie Deutsch.
Oh, I tried. Indeed. Oh my God, that's embarrassing.
So 5 languages.
No, the German, it's not for me. I did try though, but no.
Well, welcome along tonight. Thanks very much for coming along. We're looking forward to hearing your music and hearing a bit about you. We've touched on Portugal. I guess we've really got to ask, what brings you to England?
Well, it's always the question I get, and it makes sense. England, of course, you've got the English, and it's a pretty universal language and close enough from my home country, which is Portugal. So even before this crisis started, I decided to have an experience abroad because I think when you live abroad for a while, it makes you humble because you understand that the world is so wide and there are so many different cultures and people out there. So I really, really wanted to have that experience. I couldn't have it when I was younger because it's expensive to travel, and you don't really get that chance when you come from a humble background, which is my case. So once I was old enough to take care of myself, I wanted to have an experience abroad, and here I am.
And you've come to Leicester in quite a circuitous route, if my research stands up. In fact, it looked to me as though you'd been in my part of the world for a while. You were Northern Ireland, were you? Or working for a Northern Irish company?
I was working for the Northern Irish company.
Right.
That was my very first job, actually.
Right.
Yeah. It was with Leics Construction. Yeah. I was based in London though, and that was my first home outside Portugal. But yes, indeed, I owe Lagan the opportunity of my first job, which was, by the way, on the Olympics, 2012.
So you actually, did you work on the construction of the Olympics?
Yeah.
Right.
I'm a civil engineer.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my graduate job. It's still okay. You didn't hear anything on the news, so I guess I didn't do too bad.
That's quite a project to start with, isn't it?
Yeah, it was a great experience. Mm-hmm. Just being on that site, it was really impressive.
And did you go to any of the actual events?
No.
You didn't?
No.
Having been part of the construction?
No. I mean, there are so many people involved that if you really ought to give a ticket to everyone, there wouldn't be any more tickets to spare. So, no, unfortunately.
I did go with my son, and I have to say, the thing that struck me most of all was the way the volunteers looked after you. Mm. They were superb. It really was a good experience. So it also looks as though you've done quite a lot of time studying prior to that first job. Mm-hmm. Was that done in Portugal or?
Yes, absolutely 100%. I did my university studies, which is again civil engineering. And after that, I did a master's in the same area, construction area, hence the Olympics. And after that, I yet again when studying, still in Portugal, I did a master's in international management. So yeah, I'm kind of a geek.
So you're very well qualified. There was one thing that I read, again, I think this was somewhere in your profile, that you're looking after functional gaps or identifying functional gaps. Is this, you work in logistics?
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds unusual.
Yeah, again, it's kind of funny because you look at my experience, my education, and it's very academic oriented. And I started in construction and then moved into logistics.
Yeah.
But again, music was always parallel to all that. So even through uni, I kept on having bands, I kept on writing songs. So it was, because I think probably since I was very little, I was sort of brainwashed by my mum in a good way. And she sort of instilled in me the need to have a proper job, which then I didn't really like to hear that.
You don't appreciate it at the time?
Yes, but now I fully understand because as most people in the business know, it's hard to make a decent life out of it unless you're extremely lucky or extremely gifted. I am not either of those things. I don't
be the judge of that.
But I like to have some stable security in terms of finances.
So how did you start in music in Portugal? What sort of age were you?
Since I remember existing, I always wrote songs since ever. So that's the only constant thing, I guess, about my life. I was very young and I was already inventing melodies in front of the mirror, like with a hairbrush, like pretending I was singing. And then I started learning guitar, and my parents always instilled music as well in our lives. So I learned the keyboard a bit. So yeah, music was very early on for me. And I kept on doing it, and then finally had my first band when I was in uni.
Oh, so you first played live when you were at university?
Yeah, my first gig was first official gig was at the Hard Rock Cafe in Lisbon.
Oh,
I was quite lucky actually, because there was like a band competition thing going on. So my band participated and we actually ended up winning. So that was my first gig.
And did that give you quite a high profile? Was the competition quite an important one?
It kind of did, because of course Hard Rock is a very well-known place. So there was some buzz around it, but then things didn't happen the way they should, because we were supposed to the first prize was to record an EP, and that never happened. So we never saw the prize, and then eventually the band ended up splitting. Mostly, now that I look back, I think we worked very well together and we were very creative. The band was Blue Cherry, but when you're on your very early 20s, when you're growing, there are a lot of egos as well. So I think we ended up getting really upset. And now that I look back, it's a shame because indeed we had a lot of good, positive synergies going on. But
what kind of music was it?
Pardon?
What kind of music was it?
It was a very pop sort of thing. Pop rock, but definitely with a more pop kick to it.
And what were you playing? Were you a lead singer or were you playing guitar?
I was lead singer. I wasn't playing guitar. I was writing the songs, writing the melodies, writing the lyrics, which is something that I've always liked to do. Not just me, the other guys would also give their input into things, but that was mostly my role. But live, I would only sing because I was always very modest about my guitar skills and still am. But that was just singing.
And since that band, have you always played solo or have you been in other bands as well?
I had another band, a Portuguese band as well, called Pluma, which was a good project commercially wise because it gave us visibility. I wrote songs that would be on national TV, like soap operas and series. So and it would play on the radio. I had like my cousins calling me, "Oh, I'm listening to your voice. It's really cool." So that was the most mainstream sort of project that I had.
So you've had some commercial success with the music you've written?
Well, I wouldn't go as far as saying commercial success, but I certainly had a good scoop on being out there.
Yeah. And then since you've been in the UK, have you always played solo? You've not been in a band over here?
I have not been in a band, on a band yet. I've been playing solo, mostly because I've been sort of lazy. Because I know that my songs and my needs creatively definitely ask me very strongly for a bass line.
It's all about
and
the bass.
and for drums. I know that, and I need to get that stuff sorted. So yeah, guys, if you're watching, I'm looking for a band. Let's do stuff, because I need to.
There you go, you heard it first on Less Music, More Music. Silvia wants a band forming. And how would you describe your music at the moment?
It's hard. It's hard for me to describe it. People tell me I've got a lot of rhythm and blues sort of going on. I don't know. I just create what I feel like creating, and I really don't label it.
Would you say you have any specific influences?
I've got loads, and they're very diverse because I'm very eclectic. Lately, I've been absolutely passionate about the Sia, a very popular phenomenon, I know, but yeah, it's like my phase at the moment. But I've been listening to PJ Harvey, Sufjan Stevens, Bruce Springsteen, God knows, lots of different genres. Jazz, I love jazz.
Yeah.
I listen to so many different things. So.
And what is it that inspires a song in you? Is it something? Could you just be going along the street and something hits you and you think, "Oh, I can make a song," or is it things that have happened to you personally that tend to bring songs out?
Well, when I was younger, I think it would be all about dealing with my own emotions. Now that I'm growing, I get a lot of inspiration from others. I tend to empathize a lot with people. Well, not all people, but some people.
Yeah.
And their own experiences, just by observing them, touch me. So I tend to, and it gives me this really good position, which is I can be more rational about what I write because I'm not directly involved. I'm just an observer.
Yeah.
So some of my new songs and some of the songs I'm going to play tonight were created this way, like third party experience, like I'm a voyeur or something. So yeah.
And do you write the lyrics first and then the music, or?
It varies.
Yeah.
I try to write the lyrics first because, of course, when you write a good poem, you can be again more rational about it. You can organize your thoughts in a better way. But it's not necessarily the case. Sometimes I just wake up and I've got this tune in my head, and I start usually all the time with the na 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 na. So I go like na 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 na. Let me try the guitar, na 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 na, and suddenly it makes me feel things, and I start writing about those things that I feel, and it's a little bit scattered at the beginning, but then it starts shaping up into something.
Yeah. Okay, well, on that note, could we ask you to play the first of your songs for us? If you could play us a couple of songs.
Sure, of course.
Thank you.
I can be a sultan, I can be a tyrant. got an unbreakable shield, but your words, honey, they warm me so deep. Your words, honey, cut right into my soul. Your words, honey, they hurt and they sting. They hurt and they sting. They hurt and they. Your words, honey, they warm me so deep. Your words, honey, cut right into my soul. Your words, honey, they hurt and they sting. They hurt and they sting. They hurt and they throw me on the floor. Pick me up 'cause I can't take it. No, your strike won't scare me. I believe it's to such tantrums. Push me, pinch me, punch me. You know you won't hurt a bit. I ain't scared of what you might do, but I shiver with what you might say. Your words, honey, they warm me so deep. Your words, honey, cut right into my soul. Your words, honey, they hurt and they sting. They hurt and they sting. They hurt and they. Your words, honey, they warm me so deep. Your words, honey, cut right into my soul. They hurt and they sting. They hurt and they sting. They hurt and they. They hurt and they. You're killing me, yeah, yeah. They hurt and they sting. They hurt and they sting. They hurt and they. You're killing me, killing me. You're killing me, killing me.
Lovely. You good for another one?
Okay. This one is Salt and Sugar. Salt and sugar going up my spine, oh hubba hubba. Striking flavor every time we kiss. Your lips are lava. You got me shaking, honey, addicted to your taste. Your Marlin Brandy. What to do? Hey, I'm still in love with you. I might as well get some salty and sugar swell. Such a fool, got a rotten sweet too. I might as well get some heaven before it's hell. Salt and sugar going on my spine, it's insane. Should've told you, no messing with my life, it ain't a game. What to do? Hey, I'm still in love with you. I might as well get some salty and sugar swell. Such a fool, got a rotten sweet too. Might as well get some heaven before it's hell. Might as well get some heaven before it's hell. Might as well get some heaven before it's oh my, had enough of those damn sugar lies. I'll try, get some candy love that won't hurt me so. Then maybe, I'll be fine. What to do? And I'm still in love with you. I might as well get some salty and sugar swell. Such a fool, got a rotten sweet truth. I might as well get some heaven before it's hell. Might as well get some heaven before it's hell. Oh, might as well get some heaven before it's hell.
Woo! Oi. Thank you very much. How does the music scene in Leicester compare with what you would have been used to at home? When I say home, I mean Portugal.
It's not comparable.
Right.
It's not comparable. And that's one of the things I can honestly say I love about living here. Because in terms of creative people getting together and just start making music anywhere, it just flows. It happens here in Leicester so naturally. Yeah. And it is so welcoming, irrespective of where you come from, who you are, what you've done. It's just show us what you've got. And that's the way it should be. And it's very hard back home. It's all about who you know, and you know what favors you want to pull in order to play in one place or another. So it's much harder.
And when you say back home, are you talking about Lisbon?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm guessing in the countryside it's even worse.
Yeah.
So
in Lisbon you wouldn't have lots of little pubs around like we do in Leicester where local people would be playing music? No.
And when you do have live bands, it's boring because it's very, very often just covers, just covers. You're not very sort of urged to be yourself, which is a pity because we do have very creative musicians, but it's much harder to get that exposure.
Why do you think that is? Because I mean, I would just kind of assume that somewhere like Portugal is quite an outdoors place. I don't know. I would just think guitar music would be synonymous almost with the culture, and there would be lots of people playing.
Yeah, I think we've got a lot of musicians, but again, they don't get the opportunity to play as easily as I see here. Even and in fairness, with all due respect, you see people that they might not be, Bob Dylan, but they're still entitled to do their thing. Just go there, open mic. If you want to listen. If you don't, just cover your ears. But people can do this. Yeah. Whereas back home, it's not as easy. Again, it's I don't know why. It's cultural, perhaps.
And you said you lived in London for a while.
Yeah.
Did you play around venues in London?
No, I know, and it's I suppose I suppose if there's one person that I should thank is my boyfriend, now fiance, for this, because he was very, as you know, he's the drummer of the Brandy Thieves, and as soon as we got back in touch, we weren't dating yet, but he was the one saying, because he used to know me from uni, and he was the first to say, why aren't you making music? I remember that you used to make lots of music. You were, good. Start doing. And that's, I kind of start, because I don't know, somehow I thought I was I don't know, being abroad and not having a lot of friends,
Yeah.
because when you're an immigrant, it's not easy to blend in immediately. I kind of became a bit shy about it, and I
Although
just
London's
wanted to.
quite a cosmopolitan city, isn't it?
It is, but it's a weirder phenomenon. But I find it easier to make friends in a smaller town, such as Leicester,
Yeah.
than London, because it's too big and people just don't care.
Yeah.
You might be dying, but people don't care. They're just focused on their thing. So it's ironic, but I find it much harder to make friends and to become a social person again.
And when did you come to Leicester?
I moved here about a year and a half.
And what got you into the music scene here? Can you remember? Was it through Bernardo?
It was. I think it was a bit of my very first gig that I can say a gig was actually Kane, the bass player from the Brandy Thieves. Hi, Kane, who kind of challenged me, and he said, I know this guy, and he needs songwriters to play at this place. It was at the Olives.
Oh yeah.
They're doing a Sunday afternoon thing. Just talk to the guy, just give it a shot.
Yeah.
Just get out there. And that's how it started. So I played there, and I was really scared I might have been, and I think I was really rubbish. But from there, an invitation to play somewhere else came up, and then that's how
snowballed.
that's how it happened, really.
So how long had it been since you'd played a gig before you played the Olives gig?
God,
Couple of years?
A long time. A long time. I remember playing one or two songs at Pie Bar once.
Yeah.
But that wasn't a proper gig. It was just one or two songs.
Yeah.
And I was too nervous anyway. So before that, I don't even remember. It was a long time ago.
And have you played quite a lot of the venues in Leicester now?
God, yes.
You're making up for lost time.
Yes, and again, it's so nice. I don't want to brag about it, because probably people won't invite me anymore. But it's been so natural. I haven't been chasing up anything. Just normal invitations popping up from different people I've been meeting along the way, which is really nice.
How frequently do you like to play now?
Lately, again, because I'm lazy and I don't move my ass, I've been playing, I don't know, once or twice a month.
Yeah.
I could be playing more again if I was chasing more, but then I think I like to take time to write as well.
Yeah.
Because I think playing the same thing over and over again, it becomes really boring, at least to me.
Both for you and the audience, potentially.
Yes. So I don't need to be out there all the time. But yeah, I should probably play more often than I do. Yeah.
And is it easy enough to fit in around your work?
So far, yes.
Yeah.
And you know that because yesterday I was in Brussels and today I'm here.
Giving me another heart attack. You're meant to be in Leicester, not in Brussels. Okay, on that note, could we ask you to play another couple of songs?
Sure.
Thank you.
a rose, like a rose, like a rose. Oh, 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 oh,
Right.
Right, so the next one is good intentions. It was last that night, but no longer did she cast her eyes and turn around, deceived by shadows, hunting her down. Thoughts swirl inside her head as agonizing pain breaks out of her chest. She weeps and bursts out to redeem herself. She thinks that all these strange commotions are nothing but some good intentions, letting her slide down, slide down. She thinks that the misbehavior will simply fade out, fade out. But in her eyes, the good intentions will save her from herself, herself. Empty eyes and a sad smile reminds her who she used to be, however pretty she may be. Thoughts whirl inside her head as agonizing pain breaks out of her chest. She weeps and bursts out to redeem herself. She thinks that all these strange commotions are nothing but some good intentions, letting her slide down, slide down. That misbehavior will simply fade out, fade questions.
Hey, lovely.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. You've mentioned you've written quite a lot of music. Have you ever recorded any music?
Well, recently, no. Short answer. And I know I should.
Is it something that's in your plans over the next few months?
It is, but again, it sort of blends in with the fact that I acknowledge that I need a rhythm structure behind me. Yeah, I suppose when I convince some guys, perhaps present in this room, to start playing, I might get it done.
So you wouldn't consider recording solo?
Yes, I mean, definitely. And it's something that I've been meaning to do. Indeed, I see myself as a solo artist.
Yeah.
But again, I think I'm not doing much good for my own songs if I just play them raw, because you just add a little bit of bass, a little bit of drums, and what looks alright suddenly looks really good. Well, I'm not being very modest, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So that's why I think it's only fair to record it when I can give the 100% I want to give to the song I wrote.
And from your past experience, how long would it take if, say, 3 or 4 guys came along and said, yeah, here's a band? How long would it take you to get the sound developed for the band and then ready to play?
I think it shouldn't take that long, if I'm honest, because, assuming the guys that come to play pick it up as they go, I think I'm not very brainiac about music. Music is about feelings. So get the people together, just let it flow and see how it works. So I wouldn't foresee it being a really long time before we're ready to start doing stuff. And
what are your plans in terms of staying in this country? Are you likely to stay here now? Is this going to be your home, or?
Well, if I'm honest, in a sort of selfish way, the long-term perspective, I would like to grow old, close to the people I love the most, which is, of course, my closest ones, my family. Now with the new family coming as well, but that would be my long-term perspective.
Yeah.
But now the present, I'm 100% aware that and willing to stay here, because I already feel it's home for me. I feel well, I feel comfortable, I feel active from an artistic way, which I haven't felt for a really long time, even when I was in Portugal. So, Leicester is certainly a nice place to be, and I'm sure I'm going to be here for a while.
So that's quite a compliment to Leicester, if you can feel at home here so quickly.
It's almost impossible not to, because because it's so multicultural. You're not judged. You can be, whatever you feel like being, and no one looks at you like, whoa. And it embarrasses me to say so, but even in a big city as Lisbon, which is the city where I was born and the city I love, my first love, I must say that people tend to be still very judgmental. It's a cultural thing. It is, very embedded in the way we were raised. To criticize, and if your skirt is too short, there are a lot of very Catholic comments. Oh my God, Jesus! So in that way, even though it pains me a little bit to see it like this, but you have to be able to look at yourself and criticize in order to grow. So Lisbon being and Portugal in general being a great country. It does still need to grow in some aspects, and artists wise, it still needs to let it flow in a more free
and make it more accessible.
An accessible way.
Do you go to many gigs yourself in Leicester?
Now this is the bit where I'm very embarrassed. I don't go nearly as half as much as I should, because there are great.
Sorry, if it helps at all, none of the other people have either.
No.
Musicians are the worst people for going to gigs.
It's embarrassing because there are so many great musicians out there. But you know, it's hard, especially when you work, you have a sort of personal life that you need to look for. But it's not an excuse. I need to start going out more and seeing more of the wonderful people out there.
Have you got many more gigs lined up yourself in the near future?
I've got one this Friday at Pie Bar, which is going to be the birthday of a very lovely person that I met once I moved here, Rob Gurney, a photographer, yeah. And a lovely fella. So I'm gonna be part of his birthday thing on Pie Bar. If you want to come, I think it's open, so anyone can come. And I'll be doing a St. Martin Square Richard III gig thing.
Oh yes.
On Saturday, I believe at 2:30 p.m. And then I'm off to Brazil for 2 weeks. Woo!
It's funny you mentioned Brazil, because I don't know why. I always thought in Brazil they spoke Spanish, but it's Portuguese, isn't it?
Yes, Portuguese. Yeah. Funny Portuguese, but it's Portuguese.
So you'll be able to understand them.
Yeah, it's like the Americans, I guess.
Unfortunately, we're kind of running out of time. Can I just ask you one vaguely interesting question? When you and Bernardo get together and there's a question of whose musical career takes dominance, who's going to win that one?
That's a cheeky question.
I'm going to finish on a little bit of a cheeky one.
We don't really discuss. So far we never really discussed it, because I don't think we take ourselves too seriously. So it never, came on the table.
Could he be in your band?
I wouldn't think so, because of course he's fully committed to the Brandy Thieves.
Yeah.
And me personally, I like to keep things sort of separate. It's not very healthy, I think, to mix things. So I'm still looking for a drummer, guys.
A final plea for Silvia to get a drummer. You might find somebody down at Pie Bar on Friday.
Who knows?
There'll be a lot of musicians there, I would imagine.
I suppose people don't really know I'm looking, well, because I haven't been looking yet, but I'm looking for people to play with me. There are so many singer-songwriters here just playing solo that people just assume, oh, okay, they're going to do their stuff. But I think I need a band.
Okay. Well, I'll finish off by saying thank you very much, Silvia, for coming down and sharing your thoughts with us and your music. A big thank you to the Soundhouse for accommodating us again. A massive thanks to Bab and Joe for sorting out the audio.
Thank you, thanks.
And if we could ask you to finish off with the final song for us, that would be lovely.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thanks. It will take time to heal. It will take time to seal. It will take time to find all the trust was left to be high. Through old cold stone, ash and dust, disgust growls. The ancient queen lost within mirrored walls. Yet every time take time to ease. It will take time to seize. It will take time to find all those demons in my mind. Through old cold stone, ash and dust, disgust crowds. An ancient queen lost within mirrored balls. Yet every time you turn around, I see your smile and I break down. Where's the love we swore by and lost dreams, lost in time? Every time you ever breathe, I'll curse your heart to think of me. May your lies burn your tongue and silence you, devil's son. Every time you turn around, oh, devils, oh, devil's son, oh, devils, every time you turn around, I see your smile and break down. Where's the love we swore by? Endless dreams lost in time. Every time you turn around.
Beautiful, thank you very much. Thank you again.
Thanks. Thank you. Bye.